Yes, once again, good morning to all of you boys and girls. We are going to have the entire of the human heart and your circulatory system as a revision. This is a very summarized kind of the thing which we will do it one by one, and hope so you will be able to understand. If you can, sure, please send your responses after this. So we start with human heart. The human heart is made up of your cardiac muscles. The human heart is almost in the size of our palm. So same thing, I am taking this model along with myself. I am keeping it in my palm so you can understand what it is. Sure. Now this portion, this is almost a sort of triangular muscular structure. This portion we are calling it as apex. So this is situated in your mid ventral line, a bit tilted, not exactly in the center. Sure alignment, but bit tilted towards your this left hand side. So this is the position in between the two of the lungs. In the thoracic cavity, the heart is situated. Over the heart there is your membrane which is called as pericardium, which makes the heart not to get affected from any kind of external shocks or mechanical shocks or injury. That's the one which takes place as such. Now this heart, if it is taken, the upper chambers of the heart are the ones which receive the blood. We are calling them as your auricles, and the lower chambers we are calling it as your ventricles. So we have your four chambers, two auricles at the top, upper ones, and two ventricles on this. If I actually make the LS of the heart, if I take it out so that you can understand by yourself. So this is something which I am showing. These upper chambers will be called as your auricles, and these lower ones will be called as your ventricles. So this is what the upper ones. So upper ones will be getting the blood from different portions, and the lower ones will be sending it to the different portions. Now these are the walls of the heart. These are the walls of this is wall of your ventricle. This is wall of your auricle. This is wall of your auricle. This is wall of your ventricle. So this is your once again right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle. This is what we have. Now with this we use with your diagram. Now this is your LS of the heart. Now this is the longitudinal section of the heart. Now in the longitudinal section of the heart, if I actually make it like this, I find that this is your LA, means your left side, and this is your RA, right side. So on the left hand side, I have written in this form. This is your left auricle. This is your right auricle. Similarly, this is your LV. This is your RV. So this is your left ventricle. This is your right ventricle. In between your auricles, there is a sort of wall which is called a septum, and this septum prevents the intermixing of the blood. So here we are calling it as interauricular. This is your interauricular septum, and similarly if one septum is also there in between the two ventricles, we are calling them as your interventricular. Sure, this interventricular septum and interauricular septum will prevent the mixing of the blood from auricle to auricle and from ventricle to ventricle. This is it. Now once again we'll have it. Now you are in between the auricles and the ventricles. Here there are some kind of valves. So valves are those your gates, and these gates can open in only one side. If the blood tries to come back, the gates close. So it's one-way traffic for the blood which is taking place. Now this one-way traffic of the blood between the two of the auricles, we are calling this as your AV valve. AV valve means auriculo-ventricular valve. This is also we are calling it as auriculo-ventricular valve. So we are calling this side as the left AV valve. This side we are calling it as the right AV valve. So this left AV valve will be called as your bicuspid, as it has two muscular flaps, cusp-like, and this has your three muscular flaps, cusp-like, which is called as tricuspid. So bicuspid and tricuspid, these are the two ones which are having. Now these valves, they maintain the blood flow from your auricles to ventricles. So this is the blood flow. Blood cannot go back. If the blood tries to go back, the valves will shut down. This will get closed, and there is no backward flow of the blood. So that acts as a sort of quite like hinge mechanism. That is more taking place. Now the blood from here to here comes. Now there are one more pair of your valves which are present in between your ventricles, and surely the one which carries the blood out of it. Now these are your semilunar. So you are calling them as semilunar valves, quite like half moon. So we are calling this as your left semilunar valve. This is your right semilunar valve. Now this valve, these two valves, left semilunar and right semilunar, they will prevent your movement of the blood from they will prevent the movement of the blood from aorta back to your atrium. So this will be actually helping the blood to move from your left ventricle to your portion. Similarly, from your right ventricle to the portion. The blood, if it tries to go back, the flow of the blood will be prevented. Now let's make all the portions one by one, and let's take up your ducts. Now these two opens up from the lungs. So these will be called as they come from the lungs, we are calling it as pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are exceptions in your veins just because they carry oxygenated blood. So I have taken here your pink to make you remind as these are your oxygenated, blue as your deoxygenated. So here it is coming from the lungs. So we are calling this, one of them will be called as left pulmonary, the other one will be called as right pulmonary. So both of them we are calling it as pulmonary veins. So blood from here to here comes into your LA. Now from the LA there will be contraction. Now this contraction and relaxation of the heart, contraction is called as your systole and your relaxation will be called as your diastole. So there will be your contraction here, so blood will flow from here to here. Similarly, there are your blood, the blood goes out of the LV, and when it goes out of the LV, it sends blood to the different parts of the body. So this your LV will once again contract. So there will be your ventricular contraction, the ventricular systole, which will push the blood from your LV into this pipe. Now this pipe is the largest pipe of the body, which is called as dorsal aorta or artery. We are calling it as your aorta or the dorsal artery. It takes place at that. We'll go for the positions a bit later on. Now here the blood is actually brought from the different parts of the body. Now how different parts of the body? Now this is coming from this is the level or the plane of the heart. So from all the parts of this is your heart, I am taking it all. So this one I am keeping it like this. So this will receive blood from your head portion, chest portion and arms. It will enter into the whole portion. This is your upper one. We are calling it as a superior vein. Now this opening of the superior vein will be called as superior vena cava, and similarly your blood in the form of your vein surely will be brought from your legs or limbs, will be from your stomach, from your kidneys and from intestine. Now it will once again climb once again. It moves from your limbs, it brings from your kidneys, it brings from your intestine, and surely it comes from the liver. Please pardon, your stomach will give your blood to the liver. Stomach will absorb the food and give to the liver. So liver being the largest gland of the body, it will absorb. So please pardon if I have said it wrongly. So stomach will give to the liver. So liver will give. So once again from your backside, your lower side, your lower limbs, it will usually climb up in the form of inferior vein, collecting blood from the limbs, lower limbs, legs, from your intestine, from your kidneys, from your liver, and will open up into the portion which is called as your inferior vein. The opening of the inferior vein will be called as inferior vena cava. So blood from here, once again, from your right auricle will go to your right ventricle through your tricuspid valve and come here. The blood, once it has come your right ventricle, will once again will undergo your contraction. So blood will be moved from your right ventricle into this pipe. Now this is called as a pulmonary artery. Once again, pulmonary artery is the exception of the artery. This is the artery which carry deoxygenated blood and will send it to the lungs. So this is almost your structure of the heart, and it's how the blood passes on. We will move with the same thing here as your double circulation in the same way. So once again, when I am using my hands, this contraction of the auricles will be called as auricular your systole. Your relaxation of it will be called as your auricular diastole. Similarly, your contraction of the ventricles as it moves up will send blood to this, will be called as your ventricular systole, and surely the relaxation will be called as your ventricular diastole. The same thing, we are taking it here to here in a very shortcut form. Here this is your normal condition of double circulation. Now these are the chambers of the heart, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is LA, LV, your RA, RB. So blood from your lungs enter here through your pulmonary veins. Blood from your LA goes to LV through the bicuspid, sure, and then from your LV it is distributed through your dorsal artery, which comes like this and goes from your backside. So that's why we are calling this dorsal artery or aorta. It will send, so as it climbs, it will climb like this. One will go towards your head region, other will go towards chest region, the third will go towards your limbs, and the fourth one will go down. As it goes down, it will send to the your. Now this which goes down will go to your stomach, will go to the kidneys, go to the intestine and the legs. This is one-way traffic. Sure. The second traffic is this. It is collecting the blood. It is collecting from the, so blood has entered and gone once. So it's one circulation. The second traffic is from the legs, from the intestine, from the kidneys, and surely stomach gives to the liver, and then everything is taken and entered into your RA. So this is your inferior vein. What we have taken it here. Now the superior vein collects from your head, chest and arms and enters into your RA. This is superior vein. Once your deoxygenated blood has come from RA to RB, this is sent once again, so it has entered and is once again going out. The second time it is happening. It is now going to send to the lungs for oxygenation. So in this way, the blood moves twice through the heart. So we are calling it as double circulation or double circuit circulation. That's it for today. Hope so you can understand. Thanks to all of you.